All right, guys, welcome back to AHC Garage, and this is going to be another episode on the NC1 NSX, the new AHC Garage NSX shop car. And on our previous episodes, you saw how we got the car, you saw the maintenance that we did on it, and now you're going to get to the part that I like, the modifications. We got some pretty cool modifications, nothing too intense, something that I think is pretty standard operating procedure for anyone who wants a little bit more excitement out of their NC1, because the way they come from factory, the car performs great, but it lacks the emotion, the drama, if you will, of a supercar, the turbo sounds. So we're going to start off with a set of beautiful handmade Science of Speed stainless steel downpipes with a high flow cat in it, guaranteed not to set your check engine light off, yet still keeping incredible airflow and giving you some pretty good performance. There's not a ton of horsepower performance to be found from your downpipes. It's more about the sound and the overall throttle response and performance that way. We're going to keep that paired to the stock exhaust system because that utilizes a chambered valved exhaust system. They do offer aftermarket stuff like that. Maybe that's something we'll do down the road. They're pretty expensive. We're also going to be changing our charge pipes up top here where it goes into the intake manifold. We have some Science of Speed ones. We ordered them in a raw finish, and we're going to have Brian from Paint Society give us a hand color matching them to the brake caliper red. We figured that would be a pretty nice setup. White and red usually work out pretty good as well. We also have a set of intercooler piping from RV6 that we're going to go ahead and swap out. Helps replace these soft ones that have a tendency to blow off from the factory, especially when you turn the power up, because we're turning the power up with a K-tuner system. It's a reflash, beautiful setup. You plug it in, reflash it, disconnect it, and you can change maps on the fly. Really neat setup as well. And once we have all that put together, we're going to go ahead and put the Science of Speed lowering cuffs. The lowering cuffs, what they do is they replace the factory lowering mounting point on the strut using your factory spring, but just making it lower. Gives you the ability to lower it anywhere from 12 to 24 millimeters. So that's a pretty awesome setup for this. And for the most part, that's what this is going to be about. We also have some factory accessories such as illuminated door sills and some carbon components inside that we're going to take a look at as well. But for right now, I think we're going to start down here doing the downpipes. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we have to remove this styrofoam bumper support piece here, and then we have to actually remove the main bumper support, and that'll give us access to the exhaust. So pretty simple. So now that we have the rear bumper support off, you can see a whole lot more what's going on back here. You can see the transmission, you can see the downpipes, you can see the full exhaust and the valving. So like I was saying initially on this, on one of our previous videos, the exhaust works pretty simple. It comes off of the downpipe here, comes straight off the turbo into the exhaust. When this valve is closed, it routes the exhaust gas through this muffler. When this valve is open, it comes straight out here and straight out these two larger pipes. So that's the difference between the quiet mode and the Sports Plus mode, is it opens up the valving and it's pretty much deletes the muffler completely, gives you a full straight pipe exhaust. This is much enhanced when we do the SOS downpipes, which eliminates the secondary cat and puts a high flow cat in place of the primary. So we're going to go ahead and pull this exhaust off. We have one clip right here for valving. That will come right off of here. 3 bolts and the whole exhaust is off. You can see right here we have the muffler off. You can see this is the secondary cat right here. This is going to be eliminated with the new downpipes. We have an O2 sensor right here that needs to be unclipped on this side. On this side, we're going to leave the O2 sensor in place and remove it. We have to remove that gray bracket up there that holds the downpipe in. But before we get to that, we're going to go ahead and get up to the side here and see about removing the heat shielding and ducting that gives us access to the actual turbo where the downpipe bolts to it. So now I've loosened the 2 bolts at the top and 2 on the back side here. This should start to come out. Now this, you're gonna have to bend and manipulate until you can get it to come out from this area here. The good thing is that it's made of like aluminum, if you will, so, or steel. It bends pretty easy. All you gotta do is snake it out. This side's a little trickier because the fuel filler neck's in the way. So it gives you a little harder to get it out. The other side's a little easier. Now you can see the O2 sensor, the heat shielding, all this has to come off in order to gain access to the bolts, which you can see one of the bolts there. There's 4 bolts like that hold the downpipe to the turbo. You see how much more room this side has without the fuel filler neck? It goes right through this hole, so it makes getting this shield out a lot easier. Never want to lose your bolts. Put them back where you got them from. All right, so we have the mufflers off. The next thing we're going to do is work on taking off where the downpipe attaches to the turbo. We already disconnected our O2 sensor. This one we can actually leave inside of the downpipe. On this side, we're just going to loosen it and remove it from it. But up over here, we've removed some of the heat shielding and air ducting that was in place blocking the turbo itself. We're going to go ahead and remove this O2 sensor, the shielding on the top, the shielding on the bottom. That'll give us access to the bolts that bolt the downpipe to the turbo. Once we have that, there's one more bracket to remove and the downpipes come out the back of the car. So let's start pulling all these covers off. So I went to go and put this O2 sensor socket in. I see it's not going down flush. So what we found is sometimes some rocks get thrown all the way up into here. See, they kind of shot out. Still got a little bit. There it goes. Now it sits. This is the upper support bracket for the turbo. Mounts to the cylinder head, uses a steel bracket that goes from the turbo to the head to give it support. Another success. Yes. The first couple turns don't count. They can still lock. This is the thing beauty, Mike. This right here cuts hours off the job. When all the bolts come off.
John, by the way you sound, seem like you have encountered some issues with these bolts and studs that go to the downpipe and the turbo.
So, pretty typical of all of the newer modern Hondas is this style bolt. This bolt's going to be on almost all of our turbo cars, and what it is it is pinched, you can see, in these 3 spots, and that pushes the thread in and makes it into a locking nut. But the problem is that pinch sometimes will bite into the thread on the stud and lock. So if you've done a downpipe on an FL5 or a DE5 or a Civic Si, anything with a downpipe, they have these bolts. And you'll know you're just lucky if they don't lock onto it. But what we did is we made sure the car has been cold for at least 24 hours, and we put the Acura rust penetrant spray on it and let it set for about a day and a half before we even removed anything. And that's really helped with everything coming right off without any issues. There we go, the stock downpipe, ready for the SOS goodies. All right, so now you can see the aftermarket downpipes from Science of Speed and the factory downpipes. We're going to be removing these heat shields and transferring them over to the Science of Speed ones. They incorporated all the factory mounting to reuse these heat shields so that it doesn't add any extra heat where it's not designed to be inside of the engine bay. Very important. Some other manufacturers don't do that. Some wrap it, but Science of Speed definitely goes the extra distance. So if you want to go ahead and take a look at the actual construction of the SOS downpipe, it's very, very awesome. Everything is hand fabricated. All the welds are done. This is the Motorsports quality high flow catalytic converter right here. It's very efficient, and you can see over here it eliminates the secondary catalyst. That's where you really get your sound from. They keep the flex pipe in the middle and keep everything so that it bolts up to the factory exhaust. Science of Speed also options this in a 3-inch. As you can see here, it tapers from 3 back down to 2.5 to fit the factory flange. If you go with their HD 3-inch ones, they have a V-band at this. They maintain the 3-inch all the way through, and that goes to a non-valved exhaust that works with only that system. This gives us the flexibility of running the stock valve system, so that's why we chose to go with these. So all we have to do is transfer over our heat shielding and our O2 sensor, and then put it right back in the car. That was the worst.
Really?
Yep.
Cool. Yep.
All right, so now it's time to swap everything over to the new downpipes. Science of Speed gives us all new hardware, including the studs for the downpipe and also the studs for the back of the downpipe, and new 10mm hardware to replace the ones that come out of here. And these 4 mounting bolts replace the mounting bolts on the back side of the upper shield. So we mark them so that we know there's a top and there's a bottom, so that we get everything lined up the right way. And it's pretty simple. But now factory gasket fits nice and tight in there. All right, so we have everything swapped over and ready to reinstall, just like it was when we took them out. We got our gaskets on, our studs on, so now we just got to put it in the car and do the reverse of everything we did to get it out, and this part of the job is done. All right, so we got the new downpipes in. Now we just popped the exhaust back on. We're plugging in the valve actuators. You can see them right here. Now we're just going to reuse the factory hardware right here. Tighten these guys up, and then we'll put the heat shielding on up in the front, and the downpipes are done. All right, so we got everything installed as far as the downpipes and exhaust go. We have our heat shielding in. We're gonna leave some of the ducting off on the side because we still have the RV6 charge pipes to install, and that'll give us more access to the mounting hardware. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna lower it down and we're gonna give you guys a nice sound comparison. Mike got some good shots of it with the stock. Now you get to hear it with the turbos spooling. So I know you heard that and the difference it was from stock. Pretty impressive. Me and Mike both believe that this is the way the car should have came from the factory. A little bit more drama in the exhaust side of it. Now you have a sound that matches the look of the car. Absolutely #1 best mod on an NC1 standalone. Even if you don't do anything else to it, to have this sound from the car is exceptional. So now that we're all done there, we're going to put the bumper support back on and slap the back bumper on and move on to the charge pipes in the sides. And that's going to wrap up this video on the downpipe installation. We got the bumper back on. You guys saw everything, all the steps it takes to do it. What you don't see is this video is relatively short, but in reality, we have 6 hours in on the car, and that's 6 hours of 2 guys working on it, and we didn't hit any hiccups such as seized bolts or anything like that, which does happen from time to time. So you may see a short video, but with all the experience we have, we're able to get it done in a relatively good amount of time without damaging anything. You take it on yourself, it would probably be a little bit more difficult if you don't have the experience or the lifting tools in order to get it all done. That being said, that's going to wrap up this video, but on our next video, we're going to be doing some more aftermarket stuff, including the intercooler piping. That's going to replace the piping down here by the intercoolers, and we're also going to be lowering the car with the Science of Speed lowering cuff kit. It's a pretty cool kit. It utilizes the stock springs, the stock struts. It just changes the lower mounting perch on the strut to give you a 12 or 24 millimeter drop, depending on how you want the car dropped. We're going to show you all that and show you the alignment and all the good stuff. And then after that, we also have a video with our interior accessories, some OEM accessories, carbon stuff. And hopefully by that time, Brian might be done painting the front bumper trim. I don't know. We're all on Brian's schedule when it comes to things like that. But thank you, Paint Society, for helping us. But that'll be it for this episode. So let's make sure that you guys like this if you like it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And also definitely comment and tell us what you think about the car and what we're doing. And maybe give us some ideas what you think about wheels, because we got those coming up soon too.